Hi there, welcome back. Hi there, welcome back to my channel. This is my fourth video. At the moment, I would like to using English as language. Yeah, because my friend told me that, Lutfi, where's the subtitle? And then yeah, I'm thinking, I'm comparing to I make subtitle, so I prefer using English, and maybe if I have time, I make subtitle in Indonesian. It's a lot of easier than using Indonesian and make subtitle, because yeah, sometimes if I didn't use the good vocabulary, so it will be a bit problem. So yeah, I prefer using English as language at the moment. So now I would like my topic is about comparison between working in Indonesia and Australia, because yeah, I've been in Indonesia, and I've been in Australia. So comparing to I would like I would like to make a little bit specific about the tradesman. As we know, tradesman is some people who got skill in, for example, what is tradesman is like the tradesman is the tradesman how to say it, like, okay, the guy I didn't make the notes about the tradesman is. So the tradesman is, for example, like the people who do skill, or maybe in Indonesian we call it tukang. Tukang is tradesman. Like, for example, like plumber, electrician, and then welder and carpenter is part of the part of the tradesman. Okay, something like that is tradesman. So now the first one I would like to compare between how to becoming tradesman in Australia and in Indonesia. And in Australia, as we know, the people in Australia to becoming tradesman, like electrician, carpenter, a plumber, or a welder, we need to do like course, or maybe do the vocational study for 3 until 4 years to becoming qualified tradesman. But in Indonesia, we don't have we got a little bit training about to becoming a tradesman, but it's not, most likely it's not the formal training. We got formal training in there, for example in like senior high school, and then in BLK we only training it a couple months, but most likely in there is no specific training. For example, you have to for example, as a welder, there is no school, or the high school of welder. We got training, but not specific like in Australia. For example, if in Australia if you want to becoming welder, you have to you got for me, I'm international student, so I need to school full time in 2 years before I get certificate 3. But for the before like 2010, but for the people like Australian, they need to do apprenticeship for 4 years, 4 years. So 1 day at school and 4 days at workshop, something like that. And then yeah, so that's why it's difference between in Australia and Indonesia. So in Indonesia, to becoming tradesman, you need to really high skill to achieve that career, something like that. But Indonesia, most likely people, they only do informal training, like becoming help. For example, when you want to becoming a welder, okay, you go to the training in some BLK or pelatihan or training, and after that you go to the actual job, becoming helper or maybe actual welder if you good enough, something like that. But the training like it's not really it's not really complete, like not really complete, yeah. Because for example, to become a welder in Australia, you need to so many things like make TIG enabled Indonesia, becoming welder. For example, my brother, they only learn about using the arc welder, and then you already become a welder. But the welder itself, is very wide, very wide, very wide. Like you make TIG, arc, plasma cut, oxyacetylene, so many things, and boiler maker thingy, and then so many things. And we talking about the salary and job demand in Australia. Most likely, tradesman is like they got best paid worker, maybe, not the best. I seen some people is better than but anyway, okay. But comparing to the like without university degree, you got when you becoming tradesman, you still get get good salary. For example, you can earn between 70,000 until 100,000 per year, depending on experience, location, and then what's the overtime. If you got plenty overtime, of course you can get more. And also, in Indonesia, tradesman is you can earn about 300 until 700 per month. Yeah, because in Australia most likely we do per year, but Indonesia we usually per month. Yeah. Okay. But in Indonesia people doesn't recognize tradesman as good job in there. So only people who certain people who choose tradesman becoming a career, because in there is very different gap between the people who work in the office and people in the tradesman itself. And work condition, talking about this work condition and safety. So in Australia they got strict health and safety regulation, and then you have to follow work health and safety laws, and then somehow when you work you have to got proper tools, proper training and experience and insurance, something like that. For example, in I work in like fuel tank industry. To go inside the tank you have to got like certificate, like confined space certificate, because you have to know what to do in there. You have to know what to do in certain condition, on what what the risk and what the in emergency situation. But in Indonesia, in large company, yes you have, but some in the small company, is like informal job, safety like number, I don't know what number, so they even for the small job, like informal job, you didn't have any proper gear, proper equipment, something like that. But the good thing is in Indonesia, because you don't have any proper tools, proper equipment, you think like freedomly, like very maybe in this if you I got some, so if you want to see how the the tradesmen in Indonesia, you can follow some channel in YouTube, like we call it like mini cement, like this one is like in the very funny, if you tradesman and you see it's very funny, but somehow they they are very creative, to for, instead of using the proper gear or proper tools, they use very creative method to finish their job in Indonesia. Okay. And also the work culture at hours, in Australia, we work about 30, normally we work like 38 hours per 38 hours per week, but Indonesia is not, we don't, it's not really, because sometimes you get paid by by day, or you get paid by if the finish the job. Is depend on situation. But in like in Australia, if 38 hours, you don't have, when for example you finish at 5 o'clock and 5 o'clock and you can go home. But in Indonesia, somehow you have to work extra hours to finish the job, so the job can finish and you get paid. So in Australia, most likely the people like how to say it, you got in Australia, for example, if you not work, like for example you got holiday or you're in at home or in the weekend, is a company can give you phone call. But Indonesia, for example, if you do the boss and you need the worker to finish the job, you can call him and just finish the job, something like that. So it is what it is. So for the career growth, so in Indonesia, in Australia, for the career growth for as tradesman is bad, in my opinion it's better than in Indonesia, because you can survive, even it's better, it's that good job for your career. For example, first maybe you can work in some company, for 38 hours, but after hours or in the weekend you can do some casual job, like for example plumbing, electrical, or depend on your qualification. But in Indonesia, most likely you only work for one boss, and then because in there it's very, if you are tradesman, you only work for, most likely you only work for one boss, and and that's it. Okay. Okay, maybe this is maybe this is my first video using the English. Maybe next time we can use another language. Maybe what's that? Japan. Okay, it's Japan. Okay. I will try. Okay. Okay. Now it's using Japan. Is it? Okay. 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 いかがでしたか? Yeah. Okay. For example, after I talking like this, so most likely is the conclusion or like the end of the video in Japanese, like いかがでしたか? いかがでしたか? Yeah. 給与 and then Nah, forget it. Sometimes when I speak English and I have to translate to another language is hard. It's very hard. Like you have to become a different person. Like I don't know. Like to switch your brain become in the different. For example, now I'm using English. If I try using Indonesian, I couldn't doing straight away because it's like different. So no, it's not. No, I'm not in that level. To change a language. Just maybe next time we use another language. Okay. Okay. And then so it is so if you want to get good salary and then safety, I prefer Australian. But if you got like in Indonesia, if you got want to low cost, like what's that, the low cost living style, for example, because in Indonesia, if becoming not as tradesman, but is the boss. For example, you becoming the builder, it's very hip, it's very like it's very big gap between the businessman and then what's the in the businessman and, or for example, builder and tradesman itself. Because in Indonesia you don't have any, most likely the law is not really strict, so you can pay your worker whatever you want. It's whatever, like if you wanted the money, okay, if you don't know, okay, something like that. So it's hard, but yeah, it's what it is. So if you can, for example, you can builder, Indonesia is maybe the good choice because no laws. But yeah, because of no laws, so you don't have any safety itself. Like for example, if you got like we call it like preman. Preman is someone who like the scary people, who ask money for doing nothing, something like that, for safety. Yeah, something like that. And then also, the good thing in Indonesia, because they're low cost, and for example, if you are the bule, or bule is people from, for example, Australian, like Caucasian, yeah, like bule, the blondie guy or whatever, and you can speak Indonesian, and you do like content creator and speak Indonesian, Indonesian people will respect you, and then most likely you will get many followers maybe in the first month, something like that. Okay, it's already almost 20 minutes. Thanks for watching, and see you again in next chapter. Hope, but I like it.